Good afternoon on what is a cool, bright and sunny day. It is Saturday the 20th of April and I'm in the rig Nook with a nice hot cup of tea and a parcel to finish unboxing. And I've pulled several things out of here. Let's have a look, including the Emerald Empire group, guide for Legends of the Five Rings and a copy of Legends of the Five Rings itself. That's the most recent edition, and the Shadowlands supplement. And finally, what I have in this package is the Elephant and Macaw banner role-playing game, which is a little bit of an oddity. So, the Elephant and Macaw banner role-playing game brings you to a world of muskets and magic. Gather friends, create your characters, and set out for boundless adventures in colonial Brazil. Confront the legendary creatures of Brazilian folklore, change history with a roll of the dice. So, let's have a look. Publisher. It's written by Christopher Kastensmidt, and it's from Porcupine Publishing. So, there we have the credits page, and actually numerous forwards here. And the actual contents page. And then we do actually have some historical quotes here. Go before we get on to the author's notes. And an account from Franz Klein, transcribed by Sister Vittoria da Costa on the 23rd of May, 1576. So, in the past, there has been an interest, of course, in the exploration of the frontier of Americas, but primarily North America. You're thinking there of things like Northern Crown from Atlas Games, which is a really nice little D20 system setting about the first colonies, and Witch Hunt, the role-playing game. Basically, both role-playing games called Witch Hunt, because there's one published in the 80s, one published in the noughties, and then just thinking what else, and then Richard Orio's role-playing game as well, and they're all about North America, but we don't get a lot of discussion about South America. So I think this kind of redresses that balance, if only slightly. So there is plenty of realm there for exploring, essentially not North America, but South America, and the South American native and and Hispanic experience through the role-playing game. So we've got an introduction to the world of the Elephant and Macaw banner. And here's where we start with character creation. And a slightly odd kind of character sheet there. Taking through step-by-step process. And listing all of the skills. Including weapons that you can wield. And there's the weapons table. And even got a section here on martial arts, including boxing, capoeira and wrestling, social skills, history, military and naval skills. Academic skills as well as craftsman and other skills. And then we actually move on to characteristics. And these are more, these are not abilities, these are not attributes, but actually just sort of personality characteristics. So I am slightly not a rock, not I should be a gog there, but you've got a full list of those. And then equipment. Examples of equipping a character. Filling out the final details. Then we get on to, this is, that's physical condition, and then we actually have battle resolution, which actually uses some sense of sort of like, you know, miniatures or placement. So it's not entirely theatre of the mind. So numerous options and maneuvers you can take: dodge, reload, move away from combat, use a skill, and so on. Use an item, surrender. Before we get on to damage, I also like the fact that actually the artwork is actually pretty good in this. It's nicely done, fully painted, illustrated, sense of action. Then we have powers. So things like divine graces, including blessings. That covers defense against magic, healing, receiving daily bread. So there you see the obvious inspiration for that is the Christianity, the Catholicism, the period. Powers of breath and benevolent powers, and even have malign powers as well. So there you've got death and weakness and harm. Neutral ones include control of nature, counter magic, spirit world, and then we move on to cult of Ifa. The wisdom of Oromilla comes from the Yoruba culture. So there you actually have the importation of magics, and that comes with the importation of another culture via the background of essentially importation of slaves, unfortunately. So there is that aspect to the setting. I don't know how historically accurate it is in sort of like, you know, in exploring that. Like I said, basically this is an unboxing. Here we've got discussion of how to create a character with powers, with magical abilities, and how to use them in combat. We've got all in-game flavour, including an interesting encounter, somebody armed with a great spiked hammer, facing off strange creatures. And then we have an exploration on presentation of Brazil in the year 1576. And that in itself is going to be interesting to read, because it's not a period that we are necessarily aware of here, you know, in the English speaking world, in the Northern Hemisphere. But, you know, Brazil has a history that is several hundred years old. In terms of, you know, settlement, at least by the West. You know, by Portugal, but obviously, and here was the basic origins of African peoples and the principal of Portuguese strongholds in Africa in 1576. I mean, you have to remember at this point that Portugal and Spain were sort of like competitors for major empires. So you've got plenty of background here, also dealing with the indigenous peoples as well, which is absolutely should. Details on currencies and how journeys are made across the region, because obviously there are a few roads. Most of them are going to be primarily by river and by sea. Goods, buy more in-game fiction, and then an encounter again by another character against a spirit creature. And here we have the Mediator's Guide, and this covers campaigns and adventures, the role of the mediator, how to prepare adventures, and how to run them. including themes of, exploration and transport, journeys on land, maritime journeys, travel between the major ports. Just general things that will be covered during a journey, during an adventure. Special rules for battles. And handling using maps and miniatures. And even that's a really nice illustration. It's sort of like, you can use cardboard standees, you can use dice, you can use standard tokens that you would find in a board game. So we also have a section on commerce, so you could play a trader, a merchant. And here you've got rules for mercantile activity. And here we finally get onto the bestiary, and this is here is sort of like where it's going to begin to get a bit more, I suppose, interesting. So we've got discussion of essentially the breakdown of how the creatures in the bestiary are presented in terms of habitat, skills, movement, and then powers and effects, which all skills, which include enchant, cause sickness, madden, paralyze, terrify, and so on. It includes examples of each. So nicely, you've got that. Well, here's how the rules work. Or this is how the rules work. And here's how they actually work in principle. And then we move on to the bestiary itself, the different entries. Again, accompanied with some nice illustrations. Not everyone is illustrated, but when they are, it's decently done. And this has got an interesting range of different creatures, and just creatures which will be, again, unfamiliar with the most of the people who will be buying this in the English-speaking gaming community. So, I've come across the first one here in there that I've actually would recognise is the mermaid. And even get up to, we've got ordinary creatures like the peccary, caiman, pit viper, jaguar, and bull shark, and they're just covered in a simple table. You move on now to king and queen beasts. Just a few of those. They're not illustrated. We've got special items next. I mean, even then, that sort of like first thing you go, that's an odd beast. It's actually sort of some kind of gourd containing a potion. We've got rules for creating enchanted items. And we have the Fires of Bertioga, introductory adventure. Here's the location map. An illustration of forest fox, one of the creatures that we'll encounter. The village. One of the destinations, and then the monster and its lair, and a fortress where player characters can find refuge. Along the way, encountering a ruined mill. And you've got the end of the adventure, which includes a map for the player characters. And the appendices we should cover including the Elephant and Macaw banner role-playing game in the classroom, using it for educational purposes. So quite a lengthy section on that. References, so they've got bibliography, thanks from the author and each of the editions, timeline covering 1500 to 1650, so you can shift the setting around a bit. So that's quite lengthy. I've actually got proper bibliography. So the earlier one is actually for the educational aspect of the setting. More in-game reports and fiction, and then a set of pre-generated characters. So you could easily take these and take those into the classroom, or run them, or use them to run with the pre-generated, so basically the included introductory adventure. And lastly, we've got a quick reference to the rules at the end. And combat and so on. And then we've got an advert for supplement and adventures, and then just basically highlighting what is available for the role-playing game. List of the artists, blank character sheet. And that then is the Elephant and Macaw banner role-playing game set in early modern Brazil. So I think that's really interesting. It's going to be something different to look at from what we normally expect in a role-playing game. But in the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this unboxing in the Nook. If you did, then please do click on the like button down below. And of course, if you've got any comments or feedback, I do appreciate you taking the time to post those. And lastly, if you want to be alerted to get more unboxings in the Nook, where you see me out here with a package or a box from which I will unbox a book or game or a role-playing game and talk about it to the best extent of my knowledge for roughly 10 minutes or so, all of course accompanied by a nice hot cup of tea, then please do click on the subscribe button down below. Thanks again for watching another unboxing in the Nook. I will be back again soon with another one. Bye for now.